beautiful souls. Welcome to Cosmic Currents, a space for energetic tune-ups. I'm Pauline Marie, and I'm here to share alchemized embodied teachings born from my own journey. My mission is to offer loving wisdom that supports your becoming so you can step fully into your highest expression and walk in harmony with the earth. Every week, we'll dive into a fresh cosmic download by weaving together the wild unknown archetypes, animal spirits, and your own soul recognition. We'll explore how these energies may show up in your reality. And we'll look to the light and the shadow aspects, learning to harmonize these currents as they flow through your unique blueprint. The cosmic current this week is: the better you feel, the truer the thoughts. And this is really a shaman's message for the collective awakening. And it's probably not what you think is going to be. So I'm excited to get into this download with you guys. First of all, for those of you that are new, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And let's get started with the download. An ancient current is moving through the collective now, not as an event, but as a threshold already crossed. And its message is simple and exact. The better you feel, the truer the thoughts. This is not awakening through effort, analysis, or being saved from anything outside of yourself, but through attunement, listening to the body as the truth teller, and allowing sensation to lead perception. As feeling completes, false thought dissolves. As honesty replaces avoidance, clarity returns. And as shadow is met without judgment, inner wisdom and inner vision sharpens. These are the times when worlds overlap, when intuition resurfaces as living intelligence, when freedom of mind becomes an inside choice, and coherence ripples outward into culture and earth. This is the shaman's way, remembering that thought is not the master, but the servant of a wiser, multidimensional knowing that has always been guiding you. So take a deep breath in here. Take a deep breath all the way down to the base of your spine and to the center of your belly. Exhale and feel yourself lighten. Breathe in again, deep into your spine and core. As you exhale, soften those edges and become formless. See your light body. Remember yourself as timeless, multidimensional being, experiencing itself through form. And let's continue. So this current is not about external knowledge or mental mastery. It is the remembering of that inner knowing that lives beneath thought and its intuition as living intelligence. When we allow intuition to guide our thoughts, the body naturally softens, the nervous system naturally settles, and clarity naturally returns. This is how we begin to feel better. This is about freeing the mind from its own cage. So the cage here is not a entrapment. It's a mirror. And it reflects overwhelm. It reflects mental looping. It can reflect the illusion of being trapped, the waiting to be rescued, the waiting for something outside of us to change. But the truth is that this is that outside seeking. And everything is an internal game. So yes, there are influences that are supporting us. that we would deem outside of ourselves in a sense, right? The as above, so below support we're receiving, bringing in an internal order to the way the mind wants to identify with this external chaos right now. But the message is clear. This is not something we need saving from. So if you're feeling a little trapped in the mind, it's okay. I can offer that you take a listen to my playlist called Planetary Wave Activations. These activations do support and activate these higher currents. They've already been within you, but they've been dormant, right? So this playlist could be activating for you internally. So the prison is made of thought, and thought is something we can liberate ourselves from. And when we do, self-confidence rebuilds organically. Relief follows, energy returns. We remember that freedom of mind is the inside job. This is a choice, yes, and it is a courageous one. But speaking from experience of having to move through and alchemize a lot of delusion and illusion and spiritual warfare, that it is so worth the journey. So when we do this, it's like we turn our internal wheel towards truth, and the world and this truth turning work together. They are the current shifting. And when we realize what isn't serving us because we are listening to our bodies of what doesn't feel good, and we release those false thoughts, the world turns even more, not as chaos, but as alignment. And then renewal follows this. Renewal follows this through improved health, through clear perception. And it takes all of those things and attunes them to new opportunities. And those new opportunities can show up for us in our lives like magic. And some people from the outside looking in might say, you're just lucky. That came to you because, you must be so lucky. This is not luck. This is resonance. And it's a lifelong process. So we can deepen these teachings here, learning from the lion, and we just came off of the Leo full moon. So this is about clarity and courage and precision. And it's the fire, right? The lion representing the fire. And when I pulled cards for this message, the shark came out too. And the shark then is that water element, about truth and exposure and directness. So the shark energy here is really surfacing when something has not been acknowledged. And this could be within you first, obviously, but collectively. And when we circle the same patterns, you can try to identify where there's been a pattern that's been circling in your reality. It's because we've been avoiding some honesty there, or maybe we're hesitant to claim our desires or our power. And for me, that was definitely what kept me in a loop, was my hesitation to claim truly who I am and to claim what I desire. So that shark appears then, it's not as a threat, it's a revealer. And it really is only there to kind of disturb what is hidden. And The shark energy, when it's balanced, is clean, it's efficient, it's truthful. But if it's out of balance, it's sneaky or destructive or obsessive. So here, the medicine is just radical honesty. Radical honesty, especially with the thoughts we think about ourselves. So if you feel bad, those thoughts are not your truth. They may be ancestral or collective. Like certainly if you identify as, empathic or highly skilled and intuitive, and as these gifts come online, we may be bombarded with more of this ancestral collective garbage. So this is where a mindfulness practice is so important. And I think I've mentioned before, the best one I've ever used is the 2 to 5 seconds. 2 to 5 times an hour, you rest in the I am presence. It creates this gap between the thoughts. The gap increases, and then the untrue thoughts just release. And you can certainly ask for what is not serving your highest good to be released. If it's not yours, it's not yours. Release it. You will immediately begin to feel better. And this is how you'll know that it's working. So we are in this time of a collective dynamic when walking our new truth and walking this awakening can be perceived as kind of unpopular. There can be things that we do when we shift and change that others may perceive in fear or jealousy or envy. And that arises when we begin to think differently, or differently than those around us. And my advice to that is being present in yourself, because freedom requires honesty. So if you really are truly seeking freedom, it just requires this honesty, even when it disrupts old agreements. And we don't have to change anyone else's perception. We can offer our higher perspective, and that's it. And we don't even have to offer it. It depends on what the dynamic in the relationship is and what you're being called to do. But first, we free ourselves, okay? Then our freedom just becomes this living example, this living permission for others. I find that in my own life, that's just the most easeful and graceful and shamanic way that I can live. Is I free myself, I'm that permission slip for others. So we're also reminded here that inner work ripples outward, okay? So choosing truer thoughts, we participate in the renewal of the earth herself. And it's like one nervous system, one relationship, one embodied truth at a time. And it's completion and fulfillment and kind of a quiet triumph that begins to rise within your energy. And this is done so with play and expression and allowing for polarity. Okay, so when inner truth stabilizes, it does seek expression, and truth moves outward through creativity, communication, joy, and play. Ideas want motion, feelings want voice. So together as energy, they're energy in motion, emotion. So in our times of uncertainty, and there's much of it playing in our reality now, it's playing out like many movies, and it plays out as these old ancestral patterns as well. So here really playfulness with it does become medicine. So we want not approval seeking performance, like putting ourselves in the movie as seeking some kind of approval from performing in a certain way in this movie, but we want just grounded expression rooted in presence. And we want to use where we can and where it's appropriate as much humor, imagination, and creativity, because this keeps the perception of the projected reality that you're playing out flexible, right? It keeps it malleable. It keeps it open to a truer expression. So if a thought is false in this reality dynamic, your body will know. It will know right away. And it won't whisper. It'll kind of reverberate, and your heart will deliver the message. So to feel better, we do not suppress the feelings. We can name them also without trying to fix them. We can thank them for what they have taught us or how they have redirected us back to ourselves, back to feeling good. So at this time of what many would also call an apocalypse, or the collective awakening, or whatever you want to term it, it's not present as destruction. It is awakening, yes, but apocalypse, the word itself, really means lifting the veil. So it's about what has been hidden coming to light. And this can be painful. Grief often follows this. But regeneration always follows revelation. It's two currents moving simultaneously. So the fear and the love, the contraction, the expansion, running simultaneously. This is polarity, not punishment. Think of it like the forest fires that burnt away to make space for new growth. So from revealed truth, something new is born. So the shaman has a very specific message for this time, and the shaman speaks plainly about it. And what we may call this apocalypse or an awakening or the rise of the collective consciousness, whatever you label it as, one thing is clear. It's not an event. It's a threshold that's already been opened. It's the way the shaman exists in their power. The shaman is saying that these times carry power, but that power only reveals itself when three forces are activated together. And without all three, the magic remains dormant. So let's look at these three. The first is devotion, and it's devotion to, yes, not only one source or God, but it's a devotion to a learn and teach, and a teach and learn way of living. It's where wisdom is not meant to be poured endlessly like a waterfall. The shaman does not overwhelm. They also do not drain themselves. Instead, they sense precisely what is needed, and they offer it as a focused stream, just enough for the soul to drink. Sometimes this medicine the shaman offers is pleasant, sometimes it is painful, but the gift is discernment, knowing what truly serves growth, whether for an individual or the collective, and then delivering it with accuracy and care. So this is what I believe is the heart blood behind Cosmic Currents. It is what I work with my team on, and I am working towards even refining even more, is not pouring out my knowledge and my intuition and this wisdom just as an endless waterfall. It's been a big lesson for me. And so these precise downloads and messages are a focused stream. just like what the shaman is asking of us. Okay, so let's look at the second force, which is healing. And healing is beginning with the self. Then it moves to the other, and then it can move out to culture or to your environment or to your family. The shaman knows what the modern world forgets. And that is that the healing force is not external. It's a central life current living within all beings. And they connect to Mother Earth, the elements and the animals, to deliver them the specific stream. Deliver to them the specific stream. And I will even include, the cosmos in this, because this is the message. This is how this flows through this channel, cosmic currents, from the 1D to 9D as an infinite expression, an infinite spiral, okay? All right, and then the third force is the opening of doorways. So here the shaman sees time as passages between worlds, the space where other dimensions kind of press against the one you're in, or press close. So they use psychic, vision, intuition, and magic as part of everyday life. It's sacred. It's not separate from any of the ordinary things that we have to do on a day-to-day basis to sustain balance, right? And our living, whether that's maintaining our home or going to work or caring for our family, all of those things. Still, these things are woven within all of that existence. There's nothing that's separate in that. And the shaman knows this. And it knows that this is the true power of this so-called apocalypse or awakening or rise of collective consciousness that we're in. The shaman also knows that where there is light, there is shadow. It's a message to everyone that is simply address the shadow and be vigilant. Study your own darkness with honesty and courage. The shaman is a fearless student of shadow. And not as something that it seeks to destroy, but it's something to understand, to integrate, to refine. The shaman lives inside of all others and walks between opposites without any denial. The shaman reminds us that the rising of collective consciousness is not a personal achievement. It's an ancient frequency moving through humanity. And one we just must learn to shape with humility before sharing what it teaches us to the world. Otherwise, we're just adding to, this collective unrest or unease. So I'll say that again. We must learn to shape with humility before sharing what it teaches us with the world. So to do this work, the shaman, often they tend the sacred fire, right? This is our kyopa or our internal fire. The fire is that space where thoughts can arise and dissolve. The fire is the great purifier. It reveals which thoughts nourish life and which drain it. And I will also add speech to this. So if we're speaking something that doesn't nourish life or nourish something else or someone else, and we're just speaking it could be draining someone, we should be evaluating this. So ancient traditions knew this as the center of vitality, the flame, the Agni, the sacred fire of the body. And when it burns steadily, we think and speak and feel with purpose, with clarity. And it helps us in our ability to digest everything internally, coming in as well. Not only food, but experience and emotion. And when the fire dims, we can feel heavy, we can feel angry, we can feel confused, we can feel disconnected. So the shaman is teaching us to tend the fire as the sacred language. And they used it in ceremony and ritual and in reverence to just keeping it alive. So no one can light your flame for you. Not permanently. External sparks, they'll fade. But inner fire endures. So cup it gently. Protect it from harsh winds. Relight it as often as needed. This is how the shaman walks through the apocalypse, not as an ending, but as a remembering. And where a return to balance begins with the simple remembering. Don't let your thoughts use you. You are not a single point being. You are multidimensional, capable of holding many perspectives at once. For any one person, moment, or situation, you are being invited to see through multiple lenses, look from different angles, and sense beyond that first interpretation that appears. And it's not mental gymnastics. This is the alchemy. The alchemy says, yes, I feel this. And then it asks, what do I choose to do with this feeling? What do I choose to create from it? What is my body telling me right now? The body is the truth teller. Your body will signal immediately when the thought form is false, through tightness, contraction, fatigue, agitation. And don't be hard on yourself. They're not flaws, they're just feedback. And when an emotional charge doesn't get fully felt and completed, an attachment can solidify in the body, right? The thought form can become a structure. Energy can crystallize, and electricity can be frozen mid-current. So I'm not going to get too deep into the healing aspects of this, but we all know that, all of that leads to our dis-ease. But this is how patterns repeat. So it's not because we're unaware, it's because unfinished emotion can harden into that energetic architecture. And over time, this architecture can reinforce itself, and eventually it can manifest into those physical shaping, or physically, right? And then also shape behavior, relationships, and our lived reality. So balance here is restored not by suppressing thought, but by completing the feeling beneath it. From this place, you're no longer reacting, you're creating. You can feel something fully without becoming it. You can witness a thought without building a home inside of it. This is the self-mastery. This is conscious relationship. And as balance returns, thoughts regain a proper role in our life. They're tools. The system of our internal system and our energy system and our energy body softens, allows energy to free. From this internal coherence, new possibilities emerge. And it'll often reveal the hidden opportunity that was waiting just beneath what once maybe felt like a limitation. I would describe this as quiet power of alignment, and it's how we come back into balance in turbulent times. So I'd like to end with an affirmation. I listen beneath thought and follow what steadies me. As feeling completes, false patterns release. I walk in alignment with the ancient intelligence within me. So thank you all so much for those that are here and listening and doing the work. The reward is great, and I know you know that. I appreciate your energy, and if you're here, you are right where you need to be. Trust your inner guidance, and if it leads you to like, share, or subscribe, then you are acting on your inner courage and fire so that others may ride the currents. Much, much love.